radiology of abdomen. Okay. So in radiology of abdomen, like we have studied the radiology of upper limb. In those cases, usually we used to take the picture of bones, right? So usually we study about the radiology of, in case of upper limb, we study the radiology of various pathologies of bones, right? So in bones, what happens? It usually obstructs the X-ray. So in radiology, there are various modalities that I have already told you in my first class of radiology, that there is X-ray, CT scan, MRI, such and such. But basically, I am talking about X-ray. You know now how this X-ray operates. Here we use one ionizing radiation. Okay, the ionizing radiation is the X-ray only. This X-ray is an ionizing radiation. With this X-ray, we can do CT scan, we can do X-ray itself, okay, where this X-ray is used. So X-ray is an ionizing radiation with the help of which we can do CT scan and X-ray or skiagram, okay, skiagram. There is another ionizing radiation, that is your gamma ray, okay, with the help of which we do PET scan, then SPECT scan, these things, okay. But this is not necessary for you. Just understand the X-ray part. Now, for this X-ray, we need one radio-opaque structure, okay. What do I mean by radio-opaque structure? By radio-opaque structure, I mean that we need an obstruction so that the X-ray can come and form the image of that particular structure, okay. So in case of upper limb, the radio-opaque structure was the bones, okay, bones. But in case of abdomen, we don't have so many bones. We have the lumbar vertebra only, right? So for taking pictures of the various lumen, that is the small intestine, large intestine, these things, we need to make it radio-opaque artificially, okay. That is the thing. We have to make it radio-opaque artificially. So for making it radio-opaque artificially, we use one substance, toxic substance to be precise, that is your barium. Now, barium itself is very toxic, so what we do, we convert it into barium sulfate. Now, what is the advantage of this barium sulfate? This barium sulfate is not absorbed in our body, it is filtered out of our body, okay. So, but it is a radio-opaque substance. So, whenever, suppose this is the small intestine, whenever this barium sulfate solution goes through the small intestine, it makes it radio-opaque, okay. Now, if there is any tumor or something inside the small intestine, it becomes visible. It becomes visible. That is the thing with barium sulfate. There are other radiations, other substances also, such as your iodine. So there we use iodinated contrast leaf. So let us just focus on barium sulfate. Okay. Now from this concept, let us see some examples, so it will be more easy. Now how this barium sulfate is taken in our body? It can be taken through IV route, okay. It can be taken through IV route or it can be taken through orally, okay. So the patient whose X-ray we want to take, we give them a glass of barium sulfate and tell them to drink it, okay, like this. See, the person is taking barium sulfate. The person is taking the barium sulfate, and this is the technician. Can you name the name of the structure that she is wearing? This blue color. This is lead apron. Lead apron, okay, not important. This is lead apron. This is worn by your technician. Those are present in X-ray rooms to prevent them from X-ray exposures. These are also worn by your orthopedician, because in orthopedics operation theater you will see that there is a big C arm, okay, C arm in the shape of C. That C arm is necessary for, it contains X-rays. So in orthopedics operation theater also, They wear this type of apron. This apron protects the body from X-ray radiation. Okay. Now the person is taking this barium sulfate and the technician is taking the picture that is being formed on this plate. Okay. And this is the monitor for taking the exact picture. Now let us see the pictures. See, this is the barium swallow of esophagus. So what is meant by barium swallow? So basically barium sulfate when taken, it is given three types of name. One is your barium swallow. This is your barium swallow. Then there is barium meal. And finally there is barium enema. Okay. Barium swallow, barium meal and barium enema. Barium swallow is nothing but the substance is going up to the up to the last part of your esophagus. That is the part of barium swallow. Okay. So here we can see the esophagus. This is your esophagus that is seen on the radiological image. So if there is any pathology, suppose Achalasia Cardia, as you can see in this picture, this is a like white esophagus known as Achalasia Cardia. We can identify the pathology. Here you can see now this is not a normal esophagus. This is Achalasia Cardia. I am not going into the details. Basically here there is loss of ganglion cells. Where these ganglion cells are present in your orbex and mesenteric plexus. Not needed. Just know that this is a pathology of the esophagus where the esophagus gets dilated. Why it gets dilated? Because this portion becomes narrow. The lower portion becomes narrow. It cannot relax. So the food particles accumulates in this area and it cannot pass below. Okay? This is your Achalasia Cardia. So this is barium swallow. Now this is barium meal. Barium meal is nothing but the solution when reaches the stomach and first part of duodenum, it is given the name barium meal. The same thing. The same thing is given the name of barium meal. Okay. The barium substance, barium sulfate, when reaches the first part of the duodenum after crossing the stomach, it is given the name barium meal. Okay. Now this is a normal stomach picture. And this is your barium meal follow through. Follow through means the same barium substance when reaches the small intestine, it is known as barium meal follow through. Now this is barium enema. It is different from those barium swallow, barium meal, these things because it is given through the rectal route. Okay. It is given through the rectal route. So it is known as barium enema. What is the function of barium enema? We can picturize this large intestine. We can picturize this large intestine. Okay. Now this is your pathology of esophagus, your esophageal carcinoma. This is a cancer of esophagus. Here you can see this pattern. This pattern is known as rectal sign of esophagus. Not important. I am just telling the features. This is known as rectal sign of esophagus. For your level, you just need to tell that this is a pathological condition and this is the picture of esophagus. That much is sufficient. This is feline esophagus, which is seen in case of any eosinophilic infection, okay? Or in case of tuberculosis. We see this type of picture where there are many spiral things in the esophagus, okay? The folds become spiral like this, okay? So this is known as your feline esophagus. This is known as candida esophagus. Candida esophagus is not a very normal thing to see in patients. If candida esophagus is seen in a patient, it can be suspected that the patient is suffering from immunocompromised disease, particularly HIV, okay? So in HIV associated patients, this is very much common, this candida esophagus. Now this esophagus forms the shape of a screw, so it is known as diffuse esophageal spasm. In this esophagus, there are multiple rounds of contractions happening throughout the day, okay? So it becomes a screw shaped. Now this is a congenital condition where the diaphragm, this is the diaphragm part. Here you can see this part of diaphragm is not present. So the content of the intestine has gone up to the lungs. So this is the content of your intestine, okay? So there is a hernia formation here on the diaphragm level. For this reason, the content of the intestine went into the lungs, okay? So it is known as congenital diaphragmatic hernia, also known as Bosdalek hernia. Okay. Bosdalek hernia usually occurs in case of babies. Okay. This diaphragm part is not developed, so it occurs in babies. There is another similar type of hernia of the diaphragm that occurs in case of adults. We call it Morgagni's hernia. Morgagni. Now this is a sonography picture and your barium picture of intussusception. Basically this is your small intestine, and this is also small intestine taken in sonography. Here you can see that this is a claw-shaped intestine. It appears in case of intussusception because intussusception is a condition where one of the bowel goes inside another bowel. Bowel means the intestine. Intestine, in other words, is known as bowel. Okay. So here one part of intestine goes inside another part of intestine. Okay. That is your intussusception. This is pneumoperitoneum, which occurs in case of perforation. Perforation is basically your a hole formation in the peritoneum, which results in air to go into the, throw out this lungs as well as intestine. Okay. So this is your pneumoperitoneum. These are some normal gas shadows in your small intestine. So suppose this is one gas in your small intestine bowel, then there is your normal gas in rectum and sigmoid colon. This is the sigmoid colon. Then here you can see gas in the stomach. Similarly, there are some other multiple gases in the small intestine which is normal. Okay. So we need to look out like what is normal and what is abnormal. So these are normal gas shadows. But these are abnormal gas shadows because here you can see there is a staircase pattern. A pattern is followed. So this is seen in small bowel obstruction. And this type of gas shadow is seen in large bowel obstruction. Not very much important. This is sigmoid volvulus. This is cecal volvulus. What is volvulus? Volvulus is basically when the intestine rotates around its axis. That is volvulus. Okay. The intestine has a particular axis, but when it rotates against its axis, it becomes constricted on both these ends, and the fecal matter accumulates here, resulting in volvulus. When it occurs in sigmoid colon, it is known as sigmoid volvulus. It is in the shape of a coffee bean, and when it occurs in the cecum area, it is the shape of clockwise rotated. It is known as cecal volvulus. Now, this is your this part. Here you can see the ileum. The ileum is constricted. The ileum is not properly present. It is constricted. It is known as string sign. It occurs in case of TB and also in Crohn's disease. In Crohn's disease, it is known as string sign of Cantor. Okay. I'm not going into the details because it will be more time consuming now. Basically, Crohn's disease occurs in case of your inflammatory bowel disease, okay, where the patient will be passing multiple times stool, okay, multiple times of the day, they will be passing stool, then it is a inflammatory condition. So one of these causes your Crohn's disease. Then this is also another example of inflammatory bowel disease, that is your ulcerative colitis, where you can see this lead pipe colon. Usually in large intestine, you will see various hostrations, incomplete circle, incomplete, circles. But in case of ulcerative colitis, the hostrations are absent. And this is a cancer where you can see this apple core deformity known as, this is a cancer of colon. It is diverticulosis, sawtooth sign you can see. And this is an infection, I think, okay. This is an infection, basically this is infection of Echinococcus granulosus. Echinococcus granulosus. Here you can see the main organism is giving various daughter cells, okay, which is known as honeycomb sign. Here you can see the same daughter cells gets converted into water lily sign, okay, and in the end stage it becomes calcified. This is a picture of scoliosis. Scoliosis, you know, na? The curvature of the small intestine. Okay. So this is scoliosis picture. And this is a normal spine X-ray where you can appreciate this lumbar vertebra. These are lumbar vertebrae, and this white structure, these are your what? Spinous process. Okay. When this whole thing gets fused, it becomes a bamboo spine, which is a characteristic feature of ankylosing spondylitis. The person will be having lot of pain in the back in the morning time, but as the day passes, the pain will resolve. Okay. So that's all from radiology of abdomen. But basically, what you will be asked is that just to identify whether a picture is a pathological condition or it is a normal condition.